Greetings, YouTube. I've discussed the homeless problem in America on many occasions. And the radical solution that I have proposed is you just give them someplace to live. Seems to not have taken traction. Not that I ever thought I ever had much of an audience, but there are many people who've been trying to get that particular view to get traction. Just give people a place to live. Now, we have lots of empty housing units in America, lots and lots of them. In fact, we have more empty housing units than we have people who don't have homes. For right now, it would be very appropriate. Why don't we just take all the properties owned by Russian oligarchs away and have them be used to house the homeless? That might be a useful method. Not only would it be a practical and humanitarian result, but it would take something away from Russian oligarchs, and that's always a good thing. Um, but the idea of giving someone something really seems to run counter to the particularly American narrative of rugged individualism. That if you are in a place of suffering, you are in a place of suffering because you have failed. And so that suffering is your punishment for your failure, as opposed to the system that we live in is broken, and the system fails people in society, and that is why these folks are suffering. That is a position that many Americans don't take, even though some 75+% of Americans consider themselves to be Christian. And it seems to me to be a very Christ-like thing to house the homeless, to feed the hungry, to heal the sick, to educate the ignorant. Those seem like really Christ-like positions to take. And yet, most Americans don't take them. They seem to think that those that suffer deserve it. Drug addicts, they must have deserved it. Funnily enough, there's been a lot of support for the opioid crisis because a lot of the victims of the opioid crisis are white. And they didn't get that same kind of support during the crack epidemic because a lot of the people that were hooked on crack were black. I'm not sure if I can make a connection there. But these, you know, theoretical Christians just don't care. Oh, you don't have enough to eat? Well, you must not work hard enough. In a system that pays $7.25 for minimum wage when the actual output, if you kept track and increased that to match productivity, it would be $24 an hour now. And that's minimum. And remember, when minimum wage was first implemented, way past the past, the idea was a single person making minimum wage would be able to support a 4-person family, own a home, and retire. That is what minimum wage meant. It meant you could have a solid life, you could have a home, a family, and a retirement on that minimum wage. That was a surviving wage. That was a thriving wage. But nowadays, we expect people to work for slave wages. And do you know how many people who have jobs are homeless? How many people who have jobs have to get support to eat? They're working and still homeless. They're working and still hungry. The system is broken. Those people have not failed. The system has failed. Why is that so hard for so many Americans to grasp? Why is the idea that you should care about other people? Why is that idea apparently alien to so many people who consider themselves Christian? I'm a pagan. I am a heathen. And I think the system should be fixed so that none of us suffer. So we reduce suffering to the minimum. You're never going to make it all go away. We're still going to have heartbreak. We're we're still going to have suffering in our lives. But we shouldn't suffer over being homeless or hungry or sick or living in ignorance. Those are things that we should not have to suffer. And we as a society can fix those things. We have the wealth. It's currently sitting in the bank accounts of the American oligarchs. The wealthy have our wealth. And the result is people who have no place to live and no food to eat and no health care to keep them alive. And if that means the American oligarchs have, say, millions instead of billions, I'm okay with that. The top 10 richest people in America could lose 99% of their wealth and still be in the 1%. So I say we take away 99% of their wealth. We return it back to the people that earned it. And we make sure that everyone is taken care of in America, from cradle to grave. We reduce the suffering as much as we can. And we make this nation a place that Jesus might smile on.